Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? This is Enrique Sanchez of Spanish United, and today we have a very special guest. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. My name is Stephen Lee. I am currently the mayor for the city of Rosemead.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for being on the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is the progress of the city of Rosemead and when it comes to the inclusion of Hispanic people. So I want to ask a little bit about how is the city of Rosemead in terms of inclusion of Hispanic people, and what is the percentage of Hispanic people that are involved in government, and also in terms of working together with the Asian community that is in the city of Rosemead.
Thank you for that opportunity. And I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of the diversity that the city has and both the wonderful culture and cultural integration that can provide, but also some of the challenges that come with that as well. So just some basic demographics. The city of Rosemead has about 55,000 to 60,000 people, depending on how you interpret census data, of which approximately 35 to 40% are people of Hispanic or Latino descent. The about another 55 to 60% of that is of API descent, mainly Chinese and Vietnamese. So those are definitely the two largest demographics in the city of Rosemead. The council is reflective of that. The elected bodies of the council has 5 members, of which 3 are of API descent and 1 is of Latino and Hispanic descent.
Okay.
And in that case, it's that person is Sandra Armenta, Miss Sandra Armenta,
Okay.
who has served as both the mayor and council member for the city of Rosemead now for about 15 years.
Nice. That's very impressive. One of the things in Spanish United, what we do is that we try to work together with different ethnic groups and different organizations to try to foster dialogue and communication and building bridges between the Hispanic community and other groups. And as you know, because of the climate with immigration, Hispanics have gone through their form of hatred, in terms of violence and harassment, and we express our solidarity with the Asian community because they're going through something similar. But I believe that by having communication and dialogue, I think that is the best way in bringing down tensions, at the same time opening up new opportunities and avenues between both groups. I do a lot of work with the Chinese Taiwanese community in the San Gabriel area, and I pretty much interviewed all of the mayors of the San Gabriel Valley, with the exception of you and another person from another city. But one thing that really amazes me about the city of Rosemead is that it has a lot of resources and it has a lot of advantages. Like I was at the library of Rosemead the other day, where they have a program where people can actually borrow tools, which is kind of like unheard of in many parts of the city in Los Angeles County. And I think that's impressive, because I feel that when one fosters community and community work, I think that could build a rapport between different people at the same time to reach out. And I think the city of Rosemead is doing a wonderful job in trying to reach other different communities, especially those of color. And I believe that with mutual understanding and respect, I think there could be many ways having more opportunities, particularly with the Asian and Hispanic communities.
I completely agree with you, 100%.
And I also wanted to say that one of the things that I admire about the Chinese community is that how they're very well kept, and they are very close knit. That is something that I would love to see replicated in the Hispanic community, like particularly like in the city of El Monte. Like I've seen like the contrast between both cities. And the U.S. mayor, like, how would you say you would see like improvement in areas in the city of Rosemead in terms of in dialogue at the same time, providing resources and services that don't have.
Oh, that's a good question. So the city does strive to do our best to reach out to our whole community. And one of the ways we go about that is ensuring that we're communicating in multiple languages. Those who are comfortable, their main languages, we make sure we try to get that out there. So all our materials are translated in Chinese, Vietnamese, and Spanish, in addition to English, of course, right? So uh, we also try to do a lot of engagement at our events, ensuring that we have people of multiple languages present so that we can provide that support. At City Hall, same thing. We have all the major languages represented by our staff so that doesn't matter if you how limited or strong your English is, or you prefer just speaking in your native tongue, that you have that ability, so you feel comfortable coming to City Hall, and you feel that you're getting a quality of service that you would get regardless of your background. So that's some of the ways that we go about that. Um, we also celebrate our culture through different events. Obviously, as we all know, Hispanic Heritage Month is coming up, so we'll be celebrating that as a city, doing our version of Dia de los Muertos. But it's also timing well with the Autumn Moon Festival, which is celebrated by a lot of people in the Chinese Vietnamese community as we celebrate the harvest season as well. So we have a big festival that's coming up for that as well. That coming on the back of us having trunk or treat, celebrating Halloween for all the youngsters in our community. So it is a community that recognizes its diversity, and we try our best to share that cross culturally, so that whether you're Latino and attending our Autumn Moon Festival, or you're Asian American and you're testing, attending our Dia de los Muertos event, it doesn't matter what it is. It's community and family events, but with a education and recognition of our cultural heritage of which we all kind of came from.
Right, right. And I think it's very important because one of the things that we promote in Spanish United is to focus on education, because I feel that education is not only the passport to the future, but at the same time, it is also a way of bettering one's character and also improving in the image of one's community. I have done different events where I have spoken about the importance of education in the Hispanic community, and I feel that by promoting education and promoting one bettering than oneself, it could be a way to foster a positive image of the Hispanic community. Because, like I said, right now it's kind of down where it's not supposed to be. So we're trying to do what we can to try to improve it by fostering workshops, fostering programs. We've been around for about 3 years and we are like under limited resources, but we do what we can to try to help the homeless, to try to help those that don't have the means to look after themselves by doing donations, by trying to get whatever resources that we have to try to help many Hispanic people. And I feel that that's very important, and I've always used like the Chinese model in terms of fostering community, um, and at the same time, as an example of looking after for one another. Because if I see that one community has been able to have success, I think Hispanic people can also have the same success. Hello.
Yeah, 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 I completely agree with you on that. I think that there are opportunities for us to synergize, opportunities for us to learn from one another, and I think there's a lot of takeaways we can learn from each other's cultures. And um, you mentioned a couple of things earlier about the close knitness of the API community. I guess I see that in the Hispanic and Latino community as well. There's a certain just closeness to that, and maybe it's just because a lot of us are still really early on in our immigrant journey. Some of us, might come from that generation. Others of us are in the first or second generation of that. And I think if you're close to that immigrant generation, you recognize at one point all you could really rely on was each other, was your family,
Right.
or and some maybe close friends that you were truly allied with, and so because of that, I think that's what creates that tight bond between that communities, and I think it's one of the things that between our two cultures we do see a lot of for sure, and I probably it's tied to the fact that we're so close that immigrant generation still.
Right, right. And I also believe that particularly in the Hispanic community, if they continue to keep with their identity and not lose their culture, I think that will help ease social problems such as gangs, violence, drugs, alcohol, because part of the reason why many of the youngsters get into trouble is primarily that they don't have an identity. They don't know what they are. So it's like they're kind of in the middle of identifying as the other race, depending on what they look like on the outside. As you know, Hispanics a we're not a race, we're ethnicity, so we could be of any race. But depending on what particular Hispanic it is, sometimes we are pressured to be more of a certain group, and then we kind of get their baggage, and that kind of like destroys the identity of what truly means to be Hispanic. So I feel that it's very important that the elders and the community is very involved in with the youth in particular. Like in Monterey Park, they have a Boys and Girls Club, which I haven't seen in many years, because I grew up with the Boys and Girls Club, going there as a kid. And I really feel that if we start bringing back community centers for a lot of the people, I think that's going to help and keeping a lot of the young people out of the trouble, but at the same time providing classes, providing college preparation, and also providing language courses and services. I think that's very important for the health of a society.
Absolutely. I mean, I think education is will always be the breakthrough for our communities to reach the next level. And I agree with you as well that making sure that we remember where we came from as we continue our journey as Americans makes both us being American greater. It makes us honestly a stronger country. Completely agree with that.
So, like, as mayor, like, what are one of the steps that you would do or like to see in improving the living standards and improving the quality of life of the city of Rosemead? Like, what would you do different, or what would you implement to make the quality of life better for the citizens of Rosemead?
That's a great question, and I think that what I've noticed in Rosemead over my 30 some odd years of living here since I was a young child is that Rosemead has historically been a starter community for a lot of people. Uh, it was originally, obviously after the Native Americans, it was originally a lot of Italian immigrants lived here. Then we had a large Japanese American population, and the Latino population, and now the API community. And a lot of people that I've talked to over my years on the city council have always told me, "Oh, we got our start in Rosemead. We got our first apartment here when we first came to America, or we bought our first house here." So for me, Rosemead has always been a starter community. It was affordable enough. It was close enough to a lot of people's work, things like that. That kind of created that ability. Now, I have to admit that dream is getting challenged, right? And I think that as it becomes less affordable to live in America or live in California. That is now threatening that dream in Rosemead as well. So, as the mayor this year, my focus is to preserve that dream as best we can. That for Rosemead, the dream starts here, and so my objectives in working with our staff this year is focusing on projects and events and programs and development that help further and protect that starter community dream that I have, so that the next generation of immigrants can can get their start here and grow something amazing and have their own American.
I agree with you 100%. Like, one of the factors that is challenged to the American dream is housing and cost of living. So I think that's very two key issues that you touched on, and I feel that with the help of the community and working together, I think you can pull off a great standard of living for everyone in the city of Rosemead.
That is definitely the goal. That is absolutely the goal for us. And uh, the hope, the hope is that we are able to promote policies that, are able to get more housing, more affordable housing in place, promote policies where we're trying to bring in more park space for our communities so that our residents can enjoy that. Uh, Promote an environment where we have the necessary infrastructure in place so that people can use multimodal transportation options. If they choose to drive, they can. If they choose to ride a bike, they can. If they choose to walk, they can. If they choose to take public transportation, they can. But most importantly, they can do all that safely, building infrastructure where they're safe in doing it. Building infrastructure that's sustainable, and making sure that we have enough uh, electrification of the grid so that we can start moving in that direction as well, right? So a lot of these things, I think, we want to work on. We're not going to solve this in 1 year, obviously, while I'm mayor, but certainly we want to get some of these programs going so that we can build upon that.
I agree with you, and I feel that by modernizing the infrastructure, I think that's the best way of providing high speed transit, like the high speed train and electrified grids, and making way for people to have alternative sources of transportation aside from driving, because we need to make we need to make transportation accessible to everyone.
Absolutely.
So we've come to the end of our time. I want to tell you thank you so much for being on the show, Mayor. I truly appreciate it. And as soon as I'm done, I will send you the link. And for your office, we are on Spanish United social media. We're on Spanish United YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now known as X, and YouTube. And anyone that wants to reach out to me and to my office, feel free to reach out, and we could, work something in the future.
Absolutely. And I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much for letting me get a chance to speak and talk about how great Rosemead is and how we could probably work together in the future. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Have yourself a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.